Field of 68 After Dark.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Field of 68 After Dark, presented by BetMGM. Hope everyone's been able to catch their breath from this weekend. I know UConn fans, Rob Dauster probably has not, myself either. But Rob coming in pinch hitting here for T.O. We're hopefully T.O.'s okay. We'll see if he can join us on the show tonight. Rob, I did have one question for you that I was going to ask, and I'm glad you're on now. How many times have you watched the Braylon Mullins shot?
Well, which angle are you referring to? Because I've watched the angle that I had on my phone probably 40 times or so. Then I've watched the highlight on TV probably like 10 to 15 times. And then they have a version of it on the March Madness YouTube page where it says every angle of Braylon Mullins' shot. Right. And I've watched that 3 times. So I would say I've spent an hour of my life watching highlights of Braylon Mullins making a 3-pointer. So deservedly so, man. That was such an awesome moment. And just to be clear, I probably would have spent half that time watching it if it was anybody else. Like just that moment, that environment, that building, the comeback, like that is an all-time March Madness moment. It's just, an added bonus that it happened to be the team that I enjoy the most.
So you're not dissecting the trap, the how they close the trap down, the foot to foot, high hands, deflection, like the textbook defense that got to the shot. You're not dissecting that. Like, aren't you a youth AAU coach? Like, shouldn't you be teaching your team? If you're going to press, if you're going to trap, if you're going to be a defensive coach, it's foot to foot, high hands. That was textbook. Like that was textbook. Yes. The shot was great. Yeah. Great shot. You're not talking about the pass from Caravan. You're just talking about the shot.
Oh, the pass from Caravan was there was that entire sequence, right? And it wasn't just like the defensive play. It was the heads up play that we're not going to foul Cam Boozer because he's the best free throw shooter. And they tried to get Saar and they threw it back to Saar, and they weren't able to get there on the trap. And then you get it to Caden Boozer, and you got your hands up, and you make the play and the deflection. You know what else, McCall, that hasn't got anywhere near enough credit was Braylon Mullins. If you watch him, he lets the ball bounce, and he gets in the backcourt to pick it up, because if he picks it up in the front court and takes a step back, it's a backcourt violation. So he made sure that he was in the backcourt and the ball had already bounced because he knew he had time because there wasn't anyone around him to pick the ball up. Like everything about that play, it shouldn't have happened. Like that should not happen, and it did. And I think that's my favorite part about it. It's just like there's so many things that had to go right for this event to occur, and it was a fun building to be in last night. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, instant classic, obviously between Duke and UConn. Matt McCall on. I'm Sam Ravitch. But let's continue on this conversation here because. And by the way, applause to you guys, Rob, and the crew there for breaking it down so well. And the coverage in DC was great all weekend. But now that we've had, a little more than a day to digest it, I do want to revisit the moment, McCall. And for those who maybe have been living under a rock, Braylon Mullins, who was 0 for 4 from deep in the game, 4 for 23 in the tournament, 10 for 57 from 3 over his last 9 games, drills the game winner to send the UConn Huskies to the Final Four against all odds. There was so much, like you were kind of talking about, that led to that shot and everything that happened in the second half to arrive at that point. But, Coach, now that you've had some time to sit in this one, what's your biggest takeaway from that game?
The resilience of UConn. I mean, I remember yesterday – when they were down 19, it was kind of windy down here in South Florida, and we had some branches falling down. So I'm going to go clean up the yard a little bit. I got a text message and said, the exact text message was, "Here they come." And I immediately ran back inside because you knew at some point in time they were going to make a run. And that's exactly what happened. Part of me during that run was, you don't want to do this, and every sports psychologist will tell you not to do this, but is Duke going to get to the point where they're worried about what happened last year and say, oh no, not again, in the Houston game. And that's awful to say, but I was thinking of that when everything was transpiring in the game, and then UConn kept missing free throws down the stretch, and you're like, Duke's going to be okay. Duke's going to go to the Final Four. What a historic season. What a historic season for Shire. What a historic season for Boozer. They're going to be back in the Final Four and have a chance to win a national championship. And everything that transpired on that last play, I just said it had to go perfect. And it was executed perfect by UConn. So we can dissect what Duke should have done or what they shouldn't have done, or should he held onto the ball, or should not held on the ball, but it was a fingertip deflection that led to a historic shot that is putting UConn in the Final Four for 3 out of the last 4 years. So I think it says way more about UConn and less about Duke in terms of it was an avalanche that led to a historic shot. I mean, that's what happened.
Yeah, the point you made there, McCall, it wasn't. It's very easy to sit here and go over that last possession over and over and over and over and over again. We can dissect it as much as we want, and Caden Boozer is probably, I feel for him. He's getting the brunt of this right now, and he probably doesn't deserve as much criticism as he is getting, and as much analysis of the shot of that pass as he's getting. Because the reason why this comeback happened was Duke's inability to run half court offense against UConn down the stretch. It was as effective as Duke was in the first 12 minutes at shutting down everybody that wasn't named Terrace Reed. Everyone else stepped up and started being able to find ways to get to the basket. They're coming off those curls, and now instead of having someone in front of them, they have an angle. So it's solo ball getting to the rim for an and one, or it's Alex Caravan coming off a curl and dropping a little dime to Terrace Reed going to the basket. It's UConn finally starting to make some threes. And to me, it was about the comeback itself more than that last play. Stuff like that last play is going to happen, right? You're against the press. There's length and athleticism and speed out there. Moments like that are going to happen. It was the fact that there was a 19-point lead that wasn't protected that should be the story here. That's why they lost this game, not that last play, to me. And I feel like the criticism that Cade, I feel for the kid, man. My heart, literally, my heart aches for that kid and what he's probably going through right now, because that is a moment I don't know if he's ever going to be able to live down, at least in his own mind.
But Rob, how about the fact that, how about the fact that he stood there after the game with the microphones in his face and wasn't short on his answers, took it and answered every single question. And to me, that's a product of the environment he was raised in. That's a tribute to his parents. Mm-hmm. That's a tribute to the coaches that coached him. Like, the fact that he sat there and did that. I mean, what a high character player. What a high character individual. Because we've seen professional athletes that would have had a play like that, who's a role player on this team, and a good role player, that would have not stepped up to the mic like he stepped up to the mic after that game. And I just want to say kudos to his coaches, to his parents, to the people that are close to that young man, because that was not easy for him to do. And that's only going to make him better moving forward.
Yeah, look, I have the utmost respect for him as a human being for being able to. I know I would not have been capable of that at 19 years old. I'm 41. I don't think I'd be capable of that right now. Like the fact that he was able to sit there and do that, like that's a pro right there, and that's someone who look, that mistake is what it is, and that pass is what it is. But that's the kind of dude you want in your locker room, point blank, period. So I really commend him for that. My heart goes out to him, and for Shire too, McCall. Like the hardest part of this for me is I really, really like John as a person, and I really, really like John in terms of the way that he coaches his teams. And I don't think that it's possible to talk about anything that's happened with the Houston game, with this game, with the other leads that they've blown, without saying that they're 70-7. 70-7, McCall, 70-7 in the last 2 years. right? There are only 3 losses this season they had double-digit leads in. The last time that they lost a game where they did not have a double-digit lead and blow the double-digit lead was last year at Clemson when Cooper Flagg was sick and he had the flu. And the time before that was at Kansas. And again, they had plays down the stretch they could have won it. Kentucky, they had plays down the stretch they could have won. Like, what he's been able to do there is almost unfathomable.
Taking over for arguably the greatest college basketball coach of all time. I had this conversation earlier with someone, and I said this: Duke fans or critics or whatever, and we have to do our job, and we have to critique that play as members of the media. We have to say John Shire, they had a lead just like they had against Houston last year, and they lost it. They had a lead all year in the games that they lost, and they lost it. That's our job. We have to do that, and we have to critique everything that happened. If you're a North Carolina fan, would you rather have what has transpired in the last 4 years under John Shire or the last 4 years of your program? Because they've dominated the ACC. 10 times out of 10, you're taking what Duke is doing right now. And that's part of the reason that North Carolina, in my opinion, made a move the way that they did on Hubert Davis, is because what's going on right down the road and your rival, your nemesis, is saying, well, they're doing this. Why aren't we doing this at the level that they're doing this at? Why aren't we getting the best players in the country like they're getting? Why aren't we winning 35 games a year like they're winning? Well, we got to do that. So you know what? Maybe we need to find a new coach that can do that. That's not the norm, what he's doing. And we're going to critique what happened and the lead and everything yesterday and the same thing against the Houston game. But it doesn't take away from Duke had a great year. And we're judged on Final Fours and national championships as coaches in college basketball. I totally get it. And the standard at Duke is national championships because of what Mike Krzyzewski created. But this guy took over for him, and he is doing a hell of a job because that is not an easy situation. They always say you don't want to be the guy that follows the guy. Well, in this situation, he's the guy that follows the guy, and he's doing a hell of a job following the guy. And just because they didn't get to the Final Four or they lose by one possession to Houston last year, we got to critique it. We have to talk about it. That's our job as members of the media. But take nothing away from what this team this year accomplished. They won an ACC tournament championship, but without 2 starters.
Yes.
They won an ACC tournament championship without 2 starters. What a season.
The hard part now, McCall, is it's going to be the mental battle, right? Because now,
I get it.
Even when they have a big lead.
Yesterday.
Yeah, even because it happened against Texas Tech, it happened against North Carolina, it happened against Houston, and I guarantee that as it's happening against UConn, that thought creeps in your head, like, oh, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do this, we're not going to.
It crept in my head yesterday, and I felt bad when it was happening. It crept in my head. I'm like, come on, this is not happening.
Yeah. So,
but you know what John Shire is going to do? You know what John Shire is going to do? He's going to figure out a way where next year's team. That doesn't happen. He's going to spend the entire offseason doing that. Guarantee you.
Yes.
There have been those out there that are saying that a pattern is starting to emerge. And you guys have talked about those games in which they have lost. And by its definition, that is what it is. It's when something happens over and over again. But the question that I had is whether or not the pattern is causational or is it circumstantial? In other words, like McCall, is there more to these late game collapses for Duke, or is it the byproduct of running into 2 historically elite programs in Houston and UConn? Like which one is it more of? Because it is happening.
Sam, they lost 3 games this year by 1 possession.
Mm-hmm.
I just think this yesterday was a byproduct of UConn. Like we're talking about a team that is going to 3 out of the last 4 Final Fours. We're talking about a coach that already has 2 national championships under a belt. Here's the other thing I said earlier on Sirius XM. About 3 weeks ago, before UConn lost to Marquette, we're putting them in the same category as Michigan, Arizona, Florida. Like, oh, no. Florida's not the 1 seed. It's going to be UConn because of where they are right now. And then they lose to Marquette. And then they lose to St. John's in the Big East tourney. And now we're like, no, they're not in that same category. Well, they are in that same category. They've just gone through some adversity, which has put them back in this position, because it was Duke, it was Florida, it was Michigan, it was Arizona, and it was UConn. Those were the 5 teams that we kept talking about. And when UConn lost to Marquette, Florida slid into that 4th number 1 seed. They slid into that spot. So we have to put into perspective where this team was 3 weeks ago, and all of a sudden we're shocked that Duke loses to them. Oh, this UConn team is really, really good. Like, they are really, really good. So we can talk about the 19-point lead, and Duke lost the lead, and we got to go back to last year. Well, how about Houston? Houston was really, really good last year too. Pull up their resume. Pull up their resume from last season. So I think it's just a byproduct of the teams that they're playing against. Yes, it happened. It happened on back-to-back seasons. But this Duke team is 3 possessions away from not only being in the Final Four, but being undefeated. Think about that. 3 possessions away from being in the Final Four and being undefeated. But we also have to keep in mind, hey, man, just 3-4 weeks ago, we had UConn in that same category until they lost to Marquette. They had a bad day.
Yep.
Coach Hurley got ejected from the game. It was a 1-possession game there. But they were the 4th 1 seed. And then, Florida slid into that spot because Florida deserved it the way they were playing. But let's not forget where UConn was just a short time ago, and now we're shocked that they beat Duke. No, none of us should be shocked if they beat.
I don't think anyone.
And none of us would be shocked if they cut the Nets down in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I don't think we're shocked that they beat Duke. I think we're shocked at how that collapse happened. And I think you're exactly right. Like, too much of this conversation has been, and not just on the show, but kind of nationally, has been about, like, what did Duke do wrong, right? And that's just the byproduct of Duke being Duke. Duke is the biggest brand in the sport. It is what it is, right? Like, we all have accepted this at this point. But I think the thing that hasn't gotten talked enough about, the player of the year in college basketball is Cam Boozer. That's going to be consensus. He had 27, 8, and 4 assists last night. And the best player on the floor on the night when the player of the year had 27 points, 8 boards, and 4 assists was Terrace Reed. He was unstoppable on the block. He was dropping dimes out of the post when they were sending help defense to him. But to me, McCall, the 2 things that stood out more than anything else were on the defensive end. One, he took on the job of guarding Cam Boozer, because Alex Caravan, like, that was always going to be a nightmare matchup for Alex. So they tried to guard him one-on-one. That shit did not work at all. Then they started to double, and Cam was able to kind of pick it apart a little bit when they were sending help and sending the double team. And in the second half, they just said, all right, Terrace, you're going to have to guard him. Like, this is going to have to be, you're going to have to win this thing. You're going to have to throw us on your back again and carry us and drag us to the national title game. So to the Final Four. And I thought he did a fantastic job, not only guarding on the perimeter, but the other part of it was there were 3 or 4 times where he was the rotation guy and the help guy, and he got a block by going vertical at the rim when he was challenged by, like, Pat Gongba, by Cam Boozer, by Isaiah Evans. He had one on Nick Himenia. Like, he turned into an elite rim protector, which is not necessarily something you think about him. When he had 3 fouls early in the second half while guarding Cam Boozer, like, what he was able to do defensively was elite. What he was able to do offensively, like, he carried that team. It just, I don't think that performance has gotten enough conversation, and I'm going to do that right now. Terrace Reed, Barris Reed, Sam, Barris Reed, the Grizzly Bear, played like.
With all due respect, again, to y'all's point, to the other Final Four teams, UConn had the toughest path to Indianapolis. They had to play the highest possible seed in all 4 games. That is something that neither of the other 3 had to do. Over in the South region, the Big Ten battle between Iowa and Illinois went the Illini's way. They are in the Final Four for the first time since 2005, 71-59. The final score there, Keaton Wagler led the way with 25. Andrei Stojakovic playing the best ball of the season right now off the bench, poured in 15 points for them, had 17 in the win over Iowa, 17, 5 rebounds there. Takeaways from the Illinois win over Iowa, McCall.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, what a game coming down the stretch. The shot making from Bennett Sturts and Wagler, it was like back and forth. I mean, you think about Iowa had a lead in the first half, and the amount of lead changes in the second half was, I mean, that was good basketball. And it was a lot of fun to watch. This Illinois team, I've said this a million times. When I saw the bracket that came out, I said, this is the team that's going to knock off Florida. This is the team because of their positional size, because of how they guard, because they're going to force, guards to have to make long 2-point jump shots with playing drop coverage and everybody else being in their gaps. I mean, you see on the bench when they're on a defensive possession, everybody stand up and put their arms out wide saying we have to be big right now and be in their gaps. They don't get out and overly pressure the ball, so they're going to make you have to make long 2-point jump shots. And that's what makes this team good. Here's the other thing that makes this team good. I talked about the positional size, but when you think of Stojakovic, his father is probably one of the best shooters of all time when you go back to the Sacramento Kings days when he was catch and shoot threes, getting passes from Jay Will and Bobby Jackson, just knocking them down, playing along C-Webb. His son puts pressure on the paint. And this Illinois team is really, really good at shooting threes. And when you have someone that puts pressure on the paint and gets to the free throw line, and you have a team that can make threes, that's a difficult team to prepare for. And, oh, by the way, they guard. Boswell went down in the middle of January, and when he went out with an injury, I remember being in studio for NBC saying, this guy is playing like a first-team All-Big Ten player. And he goes down. That's when Wagler took off. I still don't think Boswell is back to the level that he was playing at. That's why I think this team is so dangerous. Now he has some time to get healthy before the game on Saturday. And this team, I'm just telling you, I would not be shocked if they cut the nets down. Obviously, we've got 4 terrific teams in Indianapolis. But this Illinois team, with him getting back healthy and the way that they defend and shoot threes and positional size and Stojakovic getting to the free throw line, putting pressure on the paint, it's a difficult team to guard.
It's wild that you have one of the greatest shooters we've ever seen in this beautiful sport of ours, and his son can't really shoot. It's just what Peja, what were you doing, man? Where were you? What were you doing? What were you teaching him? How did Peja Stojakovic, this guy that had the weird over the head release, right, turn into
Ratchet,
the father of a guy that could only get to the basket?
Ratchet.
That's a funny storyline for me and something I laugh about. I really do like this Illinois team. And I am only saying that now because Mike LaTulip is not on the show and Trevor Valise is not the one producing it. So as soon as Mike LaTulip and Trevor Valise show up, it's over. It's over, McCall. I'm done saying nice things about the Illini. I'm done saying nice things about Brad Underwood. No, I'm just kidding. I to be honest, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of an insight into how Field the 68 works, right? And some of the things that we kind of root for internally beyond our obvious biases. Illinois fans are insane, and they're the beautiful kind of insane where they're going to show up in droves. Champaign is drivable to Indianapolis. We are going to have
2 hours.
So many Illinois fans there. So many Illinois fans. I can't wait. If I could have picked the ideal Final Four for us, it would have been Arizona coming out of the West. It would have been Michigan coming out of the Midwest. It would have been Illinois coming out of the South. And then obviously I wanted UConn to make it from the East, but UConn or Duke, whoever it was going to end up being, or St. John's or Michigan State, this is going to, this Final Four, when it comes to the environment and the atmosphere that we're going to have there, is going to be unbelievable. I don't think people realize how insane Indianapolis is going to be, because this is not like Phoenix. This is not like Houston. This is not like Dallas. It's not spread out. It's not like different pockets of the city where it's all right there. It's going to
It is
be
going to rain a
crazy.
little bit. You think the weather's going to play a damper on it? Is it supposed to rain?
No, because like we got a team from Connecticut, we got a team from Illinois, and we got a team from Michigan. If it's 50 and drizzly,
because it's going to play a damper on my golf game. It's going to put a damper on golf, like just the rain. Yeah.
Matt, I've seen you golf when it's 38 degrees in South Dakota. All right, put a damper on your golf game. You've gone soft, man. You know what? We got to move you out of. We got to move you out of South Florida. Get you back up to New England, and then you'll be ready to go golf when it's 50 degrees. 50 degrees is warm. Like 50 degrees in the spring, in March and April. 50 degrees shorts and t-shirt weather. Back me up on this, Sam.
They get the rain.
I know. McCall's a fair weather golfer now. I did want to ask you though, Matt, about the Ben McCollum side of things before we get out and take our first break, because McCollum he's an elite X's and O's coach. He's maybe one of the best in the game right now. That's how he won 4 Division II national titles at Northwest Missouri State. It's how he won 31 games at Drake last year. And it's how he took Iowa, I should say, to the Elite Eight for the first time in almost 40 years. But everybody is saying the same thing about Iowa sizing up if they want to play against the best of the best going forward, if they want to win these types of games against Illinois. What do you make of the year that was for Iowa, and then this team and program going forward under the direction of Ben McCollum?
I mean, all the guy does is win. I mean, let's just start there. It doesn't matter whether he's coaching in Division II, whether he's coaching at Drake, whether he's coaching at Iowa. All he does is win. Going through the Big Ten for the first time in his career, he's going to look, I'm sure, at everything that transpired. He knocked off the 1 seed in Florida to get his team in a position where they were 1 game away from getting to the Final Four. So, life after Bennett Sturts, I mean, you're talking about a guy that he's coached for a really long time, that they won a lot of games together. Interesting to see how they attack what's next in terms of recruiting, because, I mean, you could make a case in February, late February, that Bennett Sturts should have been Big Ten Player of the Year with how he was playing. So anxious to see the direction that this –
Jeff Goodman, it's great to see you. Wow, you look a little younger and look like you lost some weight. Wow, Goodman.
Don't ever compare me to that guy, please, ever. I quit.
I said you're handsomer or younger. I said you're handsomer or younger.
I quit. Am I allowed to quit now? You just called me Goodman.
No, only T.O. can do that.
You can quit in about 40 minutes. How's that?
Yeah. Okay. Great. Can't wait. Yeah, just anxious to see the direction this program goes in without that guy, because what a player. I mean, what a player. And even when he wasn't scoring, the way that he could set his teammates up, he never got rattled. He didn't get sped up. So I think that's the biggest question mark for this Iowa team going forward. But I would not question against Coach McCollum, because he's won wherever he's been. And my biggest question for him is, how many shirts, and is it the same tie every game? Is it the same exact tie, or are there multiple ties?
I'm so glad you brought this up. I want to know how his shirts stay. How does this shirt stay so perfectly tucked in? Is it just because he's in shape? Like, why?
It can't be the same shirt. Is it the same tie? Is it the same tie?
Ben McCollum, it's got to be. It's got to be. Unless I bet he's got like 7 of the same tie. But Ben McCollum,
he's got to have multiple.
Ben McCollum and Mike White are the 2 guys that always they go jacket off and their shirt is always perfectly tucked in. I don't know how do you do that? You're not just standing there rigid while you're coaching the game. Like, you're up there waving your arms and your shirt is perfectly tucked in. How? That's going to be my next big investigative story. How does Ben McCollum and Mike White keep their shirts perfectly tucked in throughout a game? That's next on the Field of 68 After Dark.
That's the hard-hitting journalism that we want here on the Field of 68 After Dark, man. It is a great question, and look, I am curious to see where this program goes, because a player like Bennett Sturts was transformational to him in that program and all the programs that he coached. Second straight game with 20-plus points here in the loss. That was half of the Elite Eight games right there. When we come back, we'll dive a little bit deeper into Michigan and Arizona's path to the Final Four. Hint, hint, they both dominated as expected. And as promised, we will preview the Final Four matchups, all of that coming up next here on the Field of 68 After Dark.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. March Madness is here, and you know what that means. It's a time of excitement and a time when legends are forged. In other words, it's a time to wear chubby. Skies out, thighs out, baby. It's getting warmer. The clock's moved up an hour, and it's time for Chubbies. Chubbies was founded in 2011 by a group of friends with a simple mission: rid closets of uncomfortable clothes and put the fun back in functional fits. They set out to create shorts, trunks, and polos that put personality back into your wardrobe with fits that look good and feel even better. Chubby shorts aren't just insanely comfortable. They're built with premium fabrics that are quick drying, wrinkle resistant, and antimicrobial. Chubbies keeps you comfy, casual, and dangerously confident. For a limited time, Chubbies is giving our listeners a 20% off discount with code F68 at chubbiesshorts.com. That's 20% off your order with code F68. Give your thighs the VIP treatment that they deserve. Support our show and tell them we sent you.
Back here on the Field of 68 After Dark, presented by BetMGM. Coach Matt McCall, Rob Dauster, I'm Sam Ravitch. Over in the West region, Arizona dispatched Purdue 79-64 out in San Jose. Purdue led by 7 at the half, which actually was Arizona's largest halftime deficit all season. But much like Illinois earlier in the evening on Saturday, Arizona turned on the afterburners there in the second 20, outscored Purdue by 22 points in the final 20. Coach McCall, what changed in that game from the first half to the second half for Arizona here?
Sam, I said this going into the game. I said for Purdue to win, they're going to have to play perfect. They're going to have to play a perfect game. Braden Smith's going to have to be aggressive. He's going to have to, start the game off and finish the game off, being aggressive and not being passive, but being aggressive to score. And that's exactly how the game started off. Purdue played perfect in the first half. They did not play perfect in the second half. And the reason they didn't play perfect in the second half was because of Arizona's defense, when you think about it. Just the size, the physicality, the way that they played was just too much for Purdue. And hats off. What a career for those seniors from Purdue. Let's take nothing away from what they accomplished. Again, Big Ten tournament championship, guys that played for a national championship, lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament to get to the national championship the next year, go through so much that senior class went through. But Arizona was just too good. They were too big. They're too physical. They can win games playing in the hundreds. They can win games playing in the 60s. And they're so good defensively because they cause so many problems just with the physicality and the size up front and the adjustments that they made at the half. And it's what ultimately got them to this point to be in the Final Four. But, tip of the cap to Purdue and those seniors and the career that they've had, no question.
Yeah, hell of a run. Hell of a career for them. I think that their accomplishments speak for themselves, right? You have the all-time assist leader in Braden Smith. You have an All-American in Trey Coffiner, and you got a guy that started for 4 years on a team that has won multiple Big Ten championships and made it to a national title game in Fletcher Loyer. Like, there's nothing that you can say about those guys that their resume doesn't already say for them. When it comes to Arizona, I think the thing that's really scary about the way that game played out is I thought Purdue pretty much had them pegged in the first half, right? It was get Braden Smith. You know, it was interesting. You watch a lot of Big Ten when you're working with NBC McCall. In the first half, Braden Smith hit left-handed pull-ups off of a ball screen 3 times. And I don't know, I'm sure he's made a shot like that before. I don't know if that's ever been something that they've done schematically, or they've tried. They're normally trying to get him to his right hand so he can come off that screen and hit that little fadeaway where he's sticking his leg out, right? He hit 3 off the dribble, pull-up threes going to his left hand. And once Arizona kind of had an answer for that, it felt like Purdue kind of ran out of steam offensively. We knew that they were going to play that drop. We knew that they were going to try to make it be a 2-man game with Trey Kaufman-Renn and Braden Smith to beat them. Purdue did it a little bit differently than they normally do. Arizona figured it out at halftime. And in the second half, look, Koa Pete was awesome in the second half. That run started. They put that game away because he was able to get into the lane and hit that little like 10-foot pull-up over Oscar Clough and over Trey Kaufman-Renn time and time again. And I think a lot of people forgot just how good Koa Pete is because Braden Burries has been awesome. Ivan Karchinkov has had moments where he's looked terrific. Moteus Krivas has been really, really good. Jaden Bradley is the Big 12 player of the freaking year. And Koa Pete, man, was just like, hey, don't forget about me. I'm still pretty good over here. And I had Arizona as the best team in the country coming into the season. I had them as the tournament champion coming into the season. And the only way that I changed my decision if Arizona and UConn both win on Saturday, then it's very clear that UConn's winning the national championship. It just is. It's going to happen. They've never lost a national title game. McCall. It's never happened.
You know what's
never
crazy too? You know what's crazy is I was going to pick my daughter up on Saturday night from a birthday party, and I'm listening to Westwood One's coverage as the starting lineups for the Purdue-Arizona game are coming out. And you forget, as dominant as Arizona has been, they're starting 3 freshmen. Like you forget,
Yes.
like I'm like listening, like Koa Pete, freshman, Karchenko, freshman, Braden Murray's freshman. I'm like, I totally forgot that these guys are freshmen. All 3 of them are freshmen. They don't look like freshmen. They don't play like freshmen. And that, to me, is what's so impressive about this squad. Now, mix in the seniors. There's no question about it. But these 3 freshmen that start for this squad, man, that is impressive.
Yeah. The story arc of this entire season has really revolved around this freshman class, and all of them, to y'all's point, have stepped up to lead their teams when it mattered most. I mean, the Mullins shot for UConn, the Wagler's 25 against Iowa, Trey McKinney stepping up for Michigan, which we'll get to in a second, and Koa Pete dropping 20-plus in back-to-back games for Arizona to help them get to the Final Four for the first time since 2001. This Arizona team it has a foundation of uber talented freshmen, but the balance with Jaden Bradley is just unique. Really quickly on the Tommy Lloyd impact here of Arizona, it can't be talked about enough. Obviously, I mean, the story going back to Gonzaga, longtime assistant there under Mark Few. Guys, he's won 148 games in his first 5 seasons as a head coach, which, by the way, has just eclipsed the record set by Brad Stevens at Butler. They've won a record 36 games this season. Just how impressive.
And Brad
McCall
did it at Butler when Butler was in
Butler. That's right.
the Horizon. Tommy Lloyd
That's
did
right.
it with Arizona in the Big 12 and in the Pac-12. There's a little bit of difference there.
It's nuts. I mean, that doesn't happen these days.
Think about this too. Think about this too. His first head coaching job, he's coming from Gonzaga. Great program, take nothing away from them. But he's a head coach at Arizona. Like, that's his first job. It's at Arizona. We just talked about John Shire and the job that he's doing within that program. Mm-hmm. But this is this guy's first head coaching gig. And you pull up those 2 resumes in terms of winning percentages for first-time head coaches, it is absolutely remarkable. There's a reason that there's jobs that are, or big-time jobs that are open right now that are saying, I wish that he's our coach coming next year. I hope that's our guy. I hope he decides to come here and play for us or coach for us, because of all he does is win, and he's proven that. over the last 5 years since he's become a head coach. He's got a formula. He learned under one of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time, and Coach Few, and he's put his own spin on this program. And, man, it is so impressive to see and how they play the game.
Yeah. One add on that too. One add on that too, real quick, Sam, is that Tommy Lloyd came into this season with the reputation of a guy that couldn't get it done in March, right?
Yep.
Because
I love
they
this.
got upset a couple times because they lost a couple games early in the NCAA tournament. And this year, he broke through and he got to the Final Four. And I think a lot of people are going to have them winning a national championship. You're always the best to never do it until you actually do it. There was a point in time when Bill Self lost in a couple of Elite Eights in a row and lost two times in the first round of the NCAA tournament where people were like, nah, this dude ain't it. He can't win. He can't replace Roy Williams at Kansas. And then he won the 2008 national title. So if you're a Duke fan and you're angry about John Shire, just think about that. You're always the best to never do it until you do it. John Shire's going to get it done.
Just wait.
Hell, think about Matt Painter at Purdue. I mean, he had to deal with the same thing too. I mean, last but certainly not least, over in the Midwest region, Michigan sent 6th seed Tennessee and Rick Barnes packing with a 33-point win. It was the largest win in the Elite Eight or later since Villanova's 44-point win over Oklahoma in 2016. Michigan has scored 90+ in all 4 of their games in the tournament. Expectations, McCall, for this roster were sky high in year 2 under Dusty May, rightfully so. And by and large, they have delivered. We'll talk about Michigan's matchup with Arizona in just a bit, but talk about this game and the sheer domination that we have seen from Big Blue so far this tournament.
Sam, you know the play of the game in this game yesterday? You know the play of the game? When Charlie May hit a 3 up 30.
Yeah.
When Charlie May hit a 3.
Bench went wild.
Up 30, and his dad didn't even smile. Did not even smile. I texted someone that worked at the University of Florida with Coach May that worked with me. It was like, can we please tell Coach May to smile? Your son just hit a 3 in the NCAA tournament. In the Elite Eight. Smile. Laugh. Have some fun. Yeah, I mean, it's just sheer domination from the start. I mean, you know, Tennessee had a good year, but this Michigan team was just too much. I mean, Lindeborg was phenomenal. He showed yesterday why he's Big Ten Player of the Year, no question. It's just the balance. It's the size. It's the way that they can play in so many different ways. When Mara's at the 5 and then Mara's out of the game and they slide Morez Johnson Jr. over to that spot, now you have to prepare for that. You have to prepare in a different way. Yeah, this team is special. You know, Kason went down, and you're thinking, okay, who's going to be the backup point guard? Trey McKinney has so much substance, toughness to be able to, hey, I understand I was one of the best high school players in the country last year. I'm good accepting my role and coming off the bench. And you know what? Impacting winning in any way I can. So it's great to see. It's the culture that Dusty May has created. I love the clip of him. Someone took a picture of it and put it on Twitter of him kind of leaning up against the goalpost and watching his team, you know, cut down the nets. It's just like, he's not a me guy. He's about his team. He's about his players. He always talks about our guys, our guys, our guys. Every press conference he has, every time there's a microphone in his face, it's our guys, our guys, our guys. I'm happy for our guys. Our guys are resilient. Our guys, our guys. That's what he created at FAU. That's the reason that FAU, we're talking about Florida Atlantic University, and I worked there for 3 years. Like, I know how challenging that job is. Got them to the Final Four because he had the right mixture of guys, and now he has the right mixture of guys again and is on the verge of winning a national championship for Michigan.
You know what this was, guys? You know what it was? It's really simple to break this down.
That was a little belt action.
Belt to behind. This was a beatdown.
Yeah.
And there was a wave in the first half where I believe it was 16-15 Tennessee. And it felt like the Vols were going to be kind of in this thing. And then you got a 3 from Tennessee. And then Yaxel Lindenberg gets out in transition and hits that up and under and 1. And then you get another 3 from Tennessee, and there's a timeout. Then you get a stop, and you get another 3 on the other wing. Then there's another play in transition. And like, it went from being in like 5 minutes of real time, right? Not even 5 minutes of game time, 5 minutes of real time. It went from being a 16-15 game where Tennessee had the lead to like, this game is over. It's 35-16, and let's get to UConn Duke because this game is over. And that is what they can do. You're just waiting for the avalanche to hit. You're just waiting for that run to come. And when it does, you better hold on and better hope that you could stay within striking distance because that is what Michigan does.
Michigan back in the Final Four for the first time since 2018. Dusty May back in the Final Four for the first time since that epic 2023 run at Florida Atlantic. We will be talking about the Final Four on the other side. Rob and company, with his belt intact, are making the trip to Indianapolis. We'll talk about all the matchups coming up next here on the Field of 68 After Dark.
It's 2026. Everything in our world has leveled up. Our phones are supercomputers, your car parks itself, but your razor is still flimsy and overpriced. That's where Harry's Plus comes in. Harry's Plus has an advanced pivoting system to reach every corner of your face. It has refined blade tech for a close and smoother shave and has a weighted metal handle for added control and comfort. Most importantly for me, Harry's Plus has German-engineered blades that are honed at 3 different angles to cut hair cleanly and without razor burn. I may have a beard, but I still need to shave my neck to make sure I don't look like Paul Gasol. And with Harry's, I have never dealt with razor burn, painful bumps, or the kind of nicks and cuts that you get with drugstore blades. If you don't love your shave, Harry's will make it right, no questions asked. There's zero downside to giving it a shot. For a limited time, our listeners get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/F68. This set includes all new Harry's Plus razor, 1 refined 5-blade cartridge, a 2-ounce foaming shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. Just head to harrys.com/F68 and tell them we sent you. Today's episode of the Field of 68 is brought to you by Mando. Some men mask their BO with sense. Mando men get the job done right. Mando whole body deodorant was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. You want a solid deodorant stick? Mando's got one formulated and powered by a mandelic acid to stop odor before it starts. You like spray bottles? Mando's is aluminum free and ideal for hard to reach places. All Mando products are baking soda and paragon free, and it's safe for anywhere on your body. Pits, balls, thighs, folds, feet, even the grundle. It's perfect for me this time of year. I'm spending 15 hours a day in an arena that hasn't had the AC turned on yet. If I didn't have Mando products, I might smell like the guy sitting next to me on press row, because Mando is clinically proven to control odor better than Old Spice. Want to try America's #1 whole body deodorant formula right now? You can find it in Walmart and Target and other retailers across the country. But for the best deals, go to shopmando.com and use code F68 for 20% off at checkout.
Back here on the Field of 68 After Dark, Coach Matt McCall, Rob Dauster, I'm Sam Ravitch. Let's get into the Final Four, descending upon Indianapolis in a mere couple of days. Duke will have to wait until next year because the Final Four moves on without them. It starts with 3-seed Illinois and 2-seed UConn, to be followed by a clash of the Titans this season, 1-seeds Arizona and Michigan. Let's start with the early game here. UConn, Illinois. These two have a lot of recent history, Rob, as all UConn fans know. The 30-0 run in the Elite Eight 3 years ago. Most recently,
What?
back. That was 30-0. 30-0 run.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
30-0. Illinois fans have not forgotten about that. But they also played back in the Garden. Back in November, it was a 74-61 UConn win. To be fair, this was before the Keaton-Wagler takeover part of the season. Illinois had a historically bad shooting night from 3. Also, that game was at Store South. And for all intents and purposes, like you have already talked about, Indianapolis is going to be Champaign East, and it's only a 2-hour drive from campus. So, Rob, what's different about these teams heading into this matchup that wasn't so back in November?
I mean, there's a bunch of things. You could say this was before the Keaton-Wagler blow-up. Well, Terrace Reed played 10 minutes. Braylon Mullins played 15 minutes off the bench. Like, this was their first – I believe it was both their first game back off of ankle injuries. This was a game where Silas Demery played 20 minutes because of foul trouble. So I would make the argument that UConn's two best players, Demery – or two most dangerous players, Demery and Terrace Reed, were not what they are normally going to be. But I don't think there's too many parallels that you can draw from this. I was actually texting with LaTulip earlier, and I think both of these teams are very different now than what they were then in that moment. I still think, and McCall, you tell me if I'm wrong, I still think the key to this game is going to end up being the matchup between Alex Caravan and David Mirkovic. It was the same way that it was with Cam Boozer, and the same way it's going to be anytime that you play a team that's got a big four, because it's going to the matchup is going to be dictated, and the game is going to be dictated by who wins in the battle of one dude's got to chase Caravan around screens, and the other dude's got to deal with Mirkovic in the post. So if Caravan can win the battle of physicality on the defensive end, then UConn will win this game. If Mirkovic can chase Caravan off of screens and have him make him have a day like he did against Duke, then Illinois is going to end up winning this game. And that's kind of how I see this thing playing out.
Yeah, I still think with what Wagler showed the other day and what he's continued to show, it's what's UConn doing with him defensively. Like, how do you get the ball out of his hands? And when you get it out of his hands, he's so good at moving to get it back. Like, how do you not allow him to get it back? I'm anxious to see the matchup that they put on him because it'll be his confidence right now.
It'll be
Demery. Okay, so if Demery's guarding, but I'm just saying his confidence right now is through the roof. And he believes every single time he shoots it, it's going in. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it is going in. So when he's in the middle of the floor and the ball's in his hands and he's playing in high pick and roll, whatever it may be, like what is UConn doing to negate that and make sure when he gets off of it that he doesn't get it back, because he's so good at moving without it when the ball comes out of his hands. I'm anxious to see that. And how can
McCall, I got a question for you. McCall, I got a quick question for you. All right. So I played Division III basketball, and what Duncan Robinson did for every Division III basketball player is convince them that all I need is the right opportunity to make it to the NBA. Do you think Keaton Wagler has convinced every unranked recruit in college basketball or in high school basketball? Yes. They just need the right fit. Just give me to the right fit. Yes. I am actually a lottery pick.
Yes, I'm a lottery pick. Yes. 1,000%.
Imagine if you were back at Chattanooga right now and you had to go recruit kids he was like I think he was ranked 300, something like that, 260 something. Imagine recruiting that kid right now at Chattanooga and having him being like, well, I saw Keaton Wagler was ranked, but I was ranked. How are you going to turn me into Keaton Wagler? And you're like, we're at freaking Chattanooga, man. Like, let's go try to win the SoCon before we're worried about being a lottery pick.
Yeah. My thing too is like, can Reed impose his will the way that he imposed his will against Duke? Mm-hmm. I mean, because the game plan against Duke was, we're going to this guy, we're going to him early, we're going to him often. The size up front of Illinois, I don't know that can be the game plan in this game.
Yeah. Illinois has been the best offensive team in the country for the majority of this season. The defense has been elite so far in this tournament. They've held 3 of their 4 opponents to under 60 points per game. The only game they didn't was the first round game against Penn, where they scored 105 points and they gave up 70. With all due respect, Rob, to Iowa and to Houston, they don't run offensive sets like UConn and Dan Hurley do. No team does. No team cuts more than UConn does. So how do you see that wrinkle playing out? And can Illinois continue on this defensive run that they've been on, just stopping everybody?
I'm gonna flip the script on you. I think against Houston and against Iowa, the numbers defensively that they put up are a little skewed by the fact that both teams wanted to play 30 seconds on a possession offensively, and UConn will as well. I think the game right now is the total there is about 140, and Ken Palmer's projecting it as 144. I think this game is played in the high 50s or low 60s because UConn's got no problem walking the ball up and trying to drain 25 seconds off the clock before they get a shot. Right. And Illinois, one of the things that we've seen from them late in the game is Keaton Wagler will walk the ball up, and they're just going to try to get him to get into a ball screen and pick apart the defense. So I I really do think that this is going to be a low scoring game. It's going to be one of those games where every three, every missed layup, every out of bounds call that could have gone the other way, like every single possession is going to feel like life or death. And I really do believe that I might fall out at some point during this game on the sideline. So if I do not let LaTulip get my seat. If that happens, McCall, I'm giving you my seat because you're the honorary.
Are you gonna be back in like the media room, like getting the pizza too? Like I saw you last year, like you were like bringing pizza to everybody. You had like
Absolutely.
the pizza, like it wasn't
my
even
favorite
good
tradition
pizza.
at the
NCAA
Final
gonna
Four.
step up their game for the media food this year. They gonna step up their game.
During the game, that's normally pretty good. Post game, they're gonna
No,
order.
it's not good. No, it's not good.
They're gonna order like 75 Pizza Hut pizzas, and we will go and grab.
They make $1 billion off this event, and they're serving the media Pizza Hut pizza. No disrespect,
Travesty.
Pizza Hut.
What do you want them to bring in? St. Elmo's?
Yeah,
that's not a bad idea.
They're making
$1
billion.
Yes, I'll bring it up to David Warlock.
There has been a trend here for Illinois in the tournament. Almost like two different teams, really. In the first half versus the second half is interesting. First half, they're averaging 32 points per game. Second half of tournament games, they're averaging almost 48. Is that concerning at all to you, McCall, for Illinois giving up, going up against a team like UConn that doesn't really quit in games, especially late in second halves, as evidenced by the win over Duke?
Yeah, I don't think it's a concern. I mean, listen, it's the Final Four. Like, we're here. I mean, this, like I said earlier, this team can put pressure on the paint. They can make threes. The way that they defend, how big they are, their positional size, I'm not concerned. I mean, look, you get to this point in time in the season, there's 4 teams left. You got to get a little bit fortunate. I just want to see Jeff Goodman, if Illinois is able to win that game, I want to see Jeff Goodman in the post-game celebration of the water gun fight, because that is the most elite post-game celebration, and make those guys have Jeff Goodman take his shirt off. Okay, like make him have to take his shirt off and just spray him with water gun. Yes.
Did you see? By the way, did you see Dan Hurley after the game the other day? After they beat Duke, he took his pants off. He came out to get dust of water with just a towel on.
It was for the shrine. It was for the shrine for the. It's special stuff what we've seen so far. We'll get to our toasts in the afters as well as hit on the Arizona and Michigan side of the Final Four. Stick around with us in the afters here on the Field of 68 After Dark.
Anyone that watches After Dark knows that we like to have a beverage or two during the show. But one thing I've noticed as I've gotten into my 40s is that I can't bounce back like I used to. I can hydrate, I can get 8 hours of sleep, I can drink on a full stomach, but I still wake up groggy with a foggy head and low motivation to do anything in the morning. That's where Cheers Health comes in. I've started using Cheers Restore on nights where I have a couple of drinks, and I was shocked at how good I felt in the morning. Their claim to fame is that you will feel 50% better in the morning or your money back. While you sleep, Cheers Restore helps you metabolize alcohol and more efficiently supports overall liver health. Most people think dehydration is why you get a hangover, but the real issue is your brain going into rebound mode. The DHM in Cheers works while you sleep to smooth out that rebound. Take Cheers Restore after your last drink or before going to bed and wake up feeling at least 50% better or your money back. For a limited time, our listeners are getting 20% off their entire order by using code F68 at cheershealth.com. Just head to cheershealth.com and use code F68. Do you love the look of denim jeans but crave the comfort that comes with wearing sweats? Well, then I need to tell you about today's sponsor, Rag & Bone Miramar. Miramar is Rag & Bone's revolutionary printing technique that makes ultra soft fabrics like terry cloth, stretch cotton blends, and movement-ready knit fabrics look exactly like real denim. You get the vibe of wearing a crisp pair of freshly washed jeans without the stiffness. You get the comfort of wearing a pair of worn-in sweatpants without, looking like a slob. The best part about Rag & Bone Miramar is in the details. They added real functional elements like zip flies, button closers, and pockets. You can even wear a belt with them if you want to. You can get them in athletic, straight leg, as track pants, or whatever style you're looking for. Rag & Bone has spent 20 years mastering denim, and with Miramar, they have completely reimagined it. It's time to upgrade your denim with Rag & Bone. For a limited time, our listeners get 20% off their entire order with code F68 at rag-bone.com. That's 20% off at rag-bone.com with promo code F68.
These my DJ Burns things I had for
that was like taking them into the depths of Alaska and just dropping them off.
The first person that's gonna die has got to be one of the black guys. They're not gonna make it to the end of the movie.
That's like asking somebody, do they want to get a prostate exam or a damn gunshot wound?
All right, welcome to the afters here on the Field of 68 After Dark. Still no TO, although I did see Bubbles in the text. I did see Bubbles, so we'll see what's going on with that. Rob Dauster, Matt McCall, I'm Sam Ravage.
When the bubbles come up and then they go away, you're like, what do you say? How do I, like, what's going on? Do I respond or do I act like I'm sleeping? Like, what's, like, do I even send something?
Should we hit? I'm gonna say we saw the bubbles.
Tell them we saw the bubbles, man. We'll see. We'll see what comes up here.
The bubbles are undefeated.
Rob stirred the pot. We'll see what comes back. We do have one more Final Four game to get to here. There's a lot of people out there that are saying the national championship game is actually going to be played between Michigan and Arizona on Saturday night. I do not like that. While factually incorrect, those two have been the best teams all year long alongside Duke. This is the number 1 versus the number 2 matchup in the country in just about every computer metric that you look at out there. This is high octane. This is blue chip basketball. 2 teams combined for a 71-5 record this year. So many different matchups and storylines to get to and dissect here in this game. Not to mention, both head coaches are 2 of the bigger names discussed for the opening at North Carolina right now. Take this wherever you want, McCall, because we can go from there. Michigan, a 1.5 favorite right now, according to our friends over at BetMGM.
I think the line started at 1.5 in favor of Arizona last night when the line came out, and now it's in favor of Michigan. This is what everybody wants to see. I mean, this is the heavyweight title fight. This is, throughout the course of the season, the 2 best teams in the country. I don't think you can say that this is the national championship game, not with the other 2 teams on the other side of this bracket, not with a coach on the other side of the bracket that has won 2 out of the last 3 national championships. I don't think we can say that. I don't think you can say that at all. I think you can say this game is going to be awesome. This game is going to be really, really good. This is what we want to see with the size, the physicality that's out there on the floor with these 2 coaches, their game plan, their scheming, how they're going to prepare for each other. This game is going to be great. No, it's not the national championship game. That'll be played on Monday, and whoever wins UConn, versus Illinois is going to be able to give whoever wins this game a run for the money. This is not the national championship game. This game is going to be awesome, though. There is no question about it. I think it comes down to the turnover margin. I think it comes down to the free throw margin. And then we have to put, stock into the rebound margin because of how big and how physical both these teams are.
So here's my biggest concern with Arizona, McCall. And you take this wherever you want to go. But I think that this matchup gets won in the paint, right, because of how big they are. Michigan is the best 2-point percentage defense team in college basketball, the best. And I think that when you look at what Arizona does and the way that they want to play, there's only 2 teams this season that took fewer threes when it comes to the percentage of attempts. 2 teams had a lower 3-point rate than Arizona did. What Arizona wants to do is they want to get to the rim, they want to get to the front of the rim, and they want to score it. If it's not that, it's Jaden Bradley and Koa Pete hitting those little 8-foot mid-range jumpers. That's how they want to play. And I don't know if that works against Michigan. I don't know if you can do that against a team that is as good as they are defending the rim. Now, the flip side of it is that Arizona is the number 2 2-point field goal percentage defense in college basketball. And Michigan shoots more threes, but they still a large part of what they do is about being able to get paint touches and scoring in and around the basket, especially with the Dymara. So I think this game gets one of the paint. I'm worried about how Arizona is able to score because of how good Michigan's interior defense is and paint defense is. But I still think Arizona is the best team in the country, even if this isn't a great matchup. So I'm fascinated to see what the chess match is here, and I honestly can't wait. I can't wait to get there and see this game get played. I wish it was played tomorrow night.
Yeah. Favorite head-to-head kind of matchup that you're looking at here as far as personnel on personnel, McCall? Is there one that sticks out to you?
I think because of how Michigan plays, with Dymara being at the 5, and then Morez Johnson Jr. slides over to the 5. It's hard to pick just one, but I mean, Morez Johnson Jr. versus Koa Pete, that's the one that I'm anxious to see. Like, those two guys are at that spot, especially to start the game, the physicality of both of those guys. I'd say that's the one for me. I mean, we could go at the point guard spot. We could talk about L.A. Cadeau. We could do that. You know, with Burt, we could do all that. But Morez Johnson Jr. versus Koa Pete, man, talk about a heavyweight fight.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Krivas against Dymara is going to be awesome. And Braden Burries and Anthony Del Orso against whichever one of those Michigan big, strong, physical, Roddy Gale, Trey McKee, whoever it is, that's going to be awesome. The one that I can't wait for, McCall, is Ivan Karchenkov against Yaxel Lendenberg. Because I've been saying this all year, Yaxel Lendenberg is an NBA starter that is still in college. Like, that dude should be starting on an NBA roster somewhere. And I think Ivan Karchenkov is the one guy that is kind of built to be able to defend someone like him. Because Yaxel's 6'9", Karchenkov is what, like 6'7", 6'8". Yaxel's 240, Karchenkov is like 220, right? So they're not quite the same size, but he's big enough. He's long enough. He can stay in front of him. He's not going to be able to get posted up. So that is the matchup right there I can't wait to see, because Yaxel's been unbelievable in this tournament. Like, when he decides he wants to turn it on, he goes for a casual, 27, 8, and 4 on Sunday. He had 23, 12, and 7 assists on Friday night. Like, when he decides he wants to take over, it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go for 20, 10, and 5 assists, just because it seems like that's a fun thing to do. I'm tired of playing video games. I'm tired of playing FIFA. I'm tired of playing Call of Duty. Let me just go get 25, 15, and 8 assists here in the Sweet 16. What are we talking about? Pennsauken's finest, by the way. He's from New Jersey.
Yeah. To your point, Rob, he became the first Wolverines player to score 20-plus in 3 consecutive tournament games since Juwan Howard did so in 1994. Dagan, what do you got for us here in the afters?
All right, fellas. I just got one for you tonight, and then we can all head to bed. But first, before we do that, Rob, do you want to give everybody the lowdown on what's going on this week?
Yep. Wednesday, 4 to 7, we'll be at Tom's Watch Bar. Thursday, 12 until 3, we'll be at Tom's Watch Bar. Friday and Sunday, 4 until 7, we'll be at Tom's Watch Bar. Live shows, live streams. We should be able to have the audio going on in the bar. I've been told that it's going to happen. We'll see if we can actually figure it out. Dagan always says, never doubt me. McCall, we're going to doubt him until it happens. We're going to doubt him until it happens. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of people there. It's going to be I'm really looking forward to seeing what that environment is going to be like with UConn fans and with Illinois fans and with Michigan fans and with the hungry Arizona fans. So we'll see. But yeah, we'll be there for those 4 days, doing live shows, having big guests come in, and most importantly, we will have Matt McCall on the show.
Dynamite.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
Hey, and here's the best part about it. He will have cold Coors Lights in front of him, which means you don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen. You give McCall a couple cold Coors Lights, you never know where it's going to go.
Can we get to the question, please? So I can go back.
He's been threatening to quit, so I don't know. We'll see.
Right,
We'll
right.
see if
We'll
he
get this
makes
in
it
quick
out there.
before
Go
he
ahead,
quits.
Dick.
I do want to go back to the game we talked about at the start, UConn, Illinois, and I wanted to ask you guys, where does the Mullen shot rank in all-time NCAA tournament moments?
Woo!
Oof.
It's up there.
I mean,
It's up
Chris
there 'cause of the
Jenkins
play.
it's not ahead of that.
Nope. And I don't think I would
It's
put
not
it
ahead
ahead
of
of
Leitner.
Leitner. I think it's right there though. I think it's top 5.
It's got to be top
let's
5.
say this.
That
It's top
3
5,
to cap
but
off.
I think the way you put it ahead of Leitner is if they win it all.
Yeah, I agree.
What about the Sugg shot for Gonzaga?
That's up there.
Both freshmen,
But
right?
Gonzaga didn't win
Yeah.
it. So, like, I think those are all top 5. Chris Jenkins is number 1, and that will never be topped.
Jenkins is 1. Chalmers is probably 2.
Yeah, shit. I forgot about Chalmers.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think it boils down to what happens in the Final Four and where like.
And what about
If they win it
the
all,
North Carolina State where the shot that missed and the tip in, the air ball and the tip in?
Yeah, Jim Valvano.
That's up there too. Jim Valvano.
Greatest
Was
air
that Derek
ball of all
Wittenberg
time.
that tipped it in? Who tipped that in? Was it
Yeah,
Derek Wittenberg?
Greatest air ball of all time. I mean, top 5. Well, I don't know. I don't know if you can go top 5. I think you have to wait and see what happens in the Final Four.
But as far as like a shot in the tournament, though, if you just pick it as a standalone moment in March Madness, I don't know. I'd probably go solidly top 5. We'll see, though.
I don't know about here's the thing, Sam. Like, I don't think it gets above Wittenberg and doesn't get above Chris Jenkins because those are buzzer beaters essentially that won you national championships, right? Mario Chalmers to force OT in a national title game, I think is right. That forced overtime that tied it up, right? The forced overtime. I think that was that's probably up there because it was a national title game. So I think those 3 are set apart because of the game that it was in, and then you get to Leitner, then you get to kind of the next tier. So I think Mullins, it's clearly top 10, probably top 5 for me, but I don't think you can call it top 3 because it wasn't in a national title game.
Mm-hmm.
What about Lamont Butler? Like Lamont Butler hit a buzzer beater to send San Diego State to a national title game.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yet. I think we have to wait and see how this plays out. Yet.
What if he does it again?
It's not top 5. It's not top 5.
What if he does it again? Sign me up for
What
that,
if he does it
please.
again?
Please.
Do you know what the most ironic thing about that whole shot was? We heard Coach Pitino before the Duke game talk about the Leitner shot and how he would love to have a game-winning shot against Duke.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't happen for him, but it happened for UConn, who they beat twice this year. They won the Big East. They won the Big East tournament and beat UConn in the Big East tournament. And then UConn hits the shot to beat Duke. Is that not ironic?
That's ironic.
I'd call it serendipitous. I'd call it serendipitous. I don't know if it's ironic.
Oh, McCall, I've thought a lot about that. And what I think about that is there's a DJ named John Summit. Do you ever heard of John Summit, Sam?